Well, Merry Christmas everybody, and thank you for watching Following Walker's World. Today I'd like to do a video. I'm going to show you the difference between what a year makes in gear. Look back on one of my past videos, I think it was like around September, October of 2017. I thought I was really dialed into my gear. But since then I've changed not only all the big three, but many other items. I'm going to go over 4 items that I've changed. I got my fire going. This is fire in Florida. This is how we stay warm. But actually it has been pretty cool the last few nights, down in the 40s. But that only means good kayak fishing coming up, overnight trips being planned here real soon on the kayak, and back out on Ocala to redo the just shy of 70-mile through hike on the Ocala. And anybody in the winter who lives near this area or lives within driving range and you can't get out because of the winter conditions, believe me, come down to Ocala and do the through hike. No permits are needed. No, after January 9th, you can camp anywhere you want. It's like a lot of YouTube videos show that hiking through the Florida Trail is, knee deep in water. It's not the case in Ocala. There's actually no place that you have to walk through water. You go through Long Needle Pines area, you go through many oaks. There's tons of bear, deer, coyotes, turkey, a lot of wildlife, a lot of beautiful areas, plenty of water, and it's just a great hike. So if you're really jonesing to get out and do some backpacking and hiking, I'd recommend Ocala. So anyway, without further ado, before this fire here gets a little warm, Santa's getting a little close to it though. Getting fried up there. So anyway, I want to go over some of these items that I feel that they're still really good backpacking gear, but for me, I needed to lighten my load. All right, let me show you what my first item is here that I'm going to depart with, and that is my backpack. Back in 2017, like I said, in September, October, prior to doing a section hike of the AT through Georgia, I did a gear video showing everything I was going to bring. It's kind of a funny video. Things have changed quite a lot since then. I was going to delete it, but I'm not. I mean, videos like that are great to look back at. It just shows how you evolve in gear, and I'm such a gear geek that that's probably going to keep going on changing. But my main goal here is to lighten up my equipment, what I carry, and the best way to do that is to start with some of the big 3 items: your backpack, your shelter system, and your sleeping system. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the backpack I changed out of. I originally started, if you go back that video, with the Osprey Atmos 65 AG. This is actually 68 liters because this is a men's large. It would go probably a torso from 18 to 25 inches. There's a lot of adjustments on it. I really even think for a medium person this would work. It's got a great hip belt system that really applies all the weight to your hips, where it's not on your shoulders. It's got this anti-gravity curve mesh in it that keeps it cool on your back. The shoulder straps are fantastic. And it's a large pack, and it holds quite a bit. Got a really good front mesh pocket. Like I said, the hip belts and the pockets are decent. Shoulder straps. I didn't make very many adjustments. I put a little water bottle holder on here, and this is your trekking pole holder. I also purchased the 2-liter Osprey hydration system. Never used it. Never seen the use at all. Just do not like them. This particular one was made for this backpack. Some people just love them. But this come in at 4 pounds, 10 ounces, and I just needed to lighten it up some. So after using this only twice, I used it in the Ocala through hike, and I used it on that section hike of the AT. I think I did it on one overnight too in Kissimmee, but that's about it. It's brand new, like out of the box, not a thing wrong with it. It's just perfect. I even have the sales receipt from when I bought it. and all the information that is needed with it. So I'm looking to sell that. So I'm switched to the Z-Packs Arc Haul. This comes in at $27. It's probably a little bit more because I added a shoulder pouch to it, and I have a Polycro bag liner in it now, which is clear and a lot less bulkier. It's just a very good pack. It's my go-to pack right now. I used it on the JMT. I used it on the Foothills Trail, and plan on continuing to use it, and we'll see if that works out for me. If I ever do want a different pack, I'm not going to change out. I'll probably just add to my arsenal here and get a frameless pack, something made by Superior Hiking. They make a good one. Waymark makes a good one. Palante makes one. Light AF makes a really good one, and there's numerous companies. Even Z-Packs makes the Zero, I think it's called. That's a very good. And the reason I want to do that is just try out what a frameless pack, light pack would be, especially on these 2-3 night trips that I go on to these section hikes. Next is going to my sleep system and show you what has changed on that. When I first got into backpacking, I heard about quilts versus sleeping bags, down versus synthetics. I definitely wanted a down piece of equipment, but after doing more and more research, I found that down sleeping bags, when you lay in sleeping bags and you compress down, it loses its R value. I started out using what they call, it's a hike and bike stick sleeping bag. It comes with a compression sack. I think this one is, it's the 15 degree, and it's YKK anti-snag zips on it. It's water resistant treated ripstop on the outside coating, and it's just, I've used it the same amount of times as I used my my backpack. Only a few times. It's like brand new. I'm tall, I'm 6'2", so this is a long version of it. It comes in at about, what's the weight on this one? It was 3 pounds, 0.24 ounces. And it actually has a foot box that's kind of a small foot box, so you could have used it as, and I have used it as, a quilt. It's a fantastic sleeping bag, 15 degree. I'd say if you use it in anything under 30 degrees, it starts to get cold. It comes with a stuff sack. I just don't use stuff sacks. I like to shove my sleeping bag into my Polycro or your trash bag and stuff it around so it fits nicely in the bottom of your pack. It was 87 inches long. Then at the hips it was like 28 inches or 26 inches or 20, I don't know, something like that. But there was a lot of room to turn. I'm a side sleeper, so I had no problem sleeping that on the side, and I could bring it up over my head and zip it up, and you really could get quite cozy in it. But I wanted to go lighter, and I really wanted a quilt. So I bit the bullet, and I got the Enlightened Equipment Revelation. It's a super light. I used this on the JMT. It was the only time I used it, and I absolutely loved it. It has a part where you can enclose the foot box. There is a small hole, but I never found any draft came through that at all. This here is a long, extra wide. I got the 950 fill. I mean, I went all out on this one. I got everything you can possibly get on it, and I just love it. The bag comes in at about 29 ounces with all the extra stuff I had in it. Oh yeah, and the hike and bike, that was 500 fill power, 750 fill duck down in it. Like I said, it was very warm though, and it's a great sleeping bag. But this is my go-to quilt now. It's a 20 degree, and you can see me using it pretty much. It got down into the low 30s on the JMT, and I was toasty as hell in it. So that's it. And I saved myself a lot of weight between that now and my backpack. So Enlightened Equipment is my go-to quilt, and I like it a lot. And I am going to sell the Hike and Bike Quandary 15 degree extra long wide sleeping bag. Okay, let's talk shelters. When I first started out, I started out with a freestanding tent. I got the Morrison 2 made by Mountainsmith. This is a freestanding tent. It's a double wall tent that comes with a fly, tent poles, and the stakes. The footprint was extra on it, but it's a true two-person tent. My wife and I had no problems in this tent at all. I think it's 96 inches long, has 2 vestibules, 2 entryways, and it's a very nice tent. It held up under weather conditions. My only problem with it was that it weighs 5 pounds 10 ounces. I did carry it on the section hike of the AT and through Ocala, and it worked out real well for me. We'll hold on to that because there's situations where I'm going to really need a freestanding tent, especially when I'm not using trekking poles and when I'm out on my kayak doing overnighters. This tent will be very valuable to me. As you may know, in some past videos, I've done a couple reviews on that tent that I've purchased from China. It's from AliExpress, where it was from the 3F UL Gear, the Lanshan 2. It's a trekking pole tent that with the double wall tent with everything and the stakes came in at just about 2.5 pounds. So it does save me almost 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds in weight from this tent to my other freestanding tent. You do need trekking poles with this. It is a double wall tent, like I said, with 2 vestibules. I used it on the JMT, and I also used it on the Foothills trail, and it worked out real well. No leaks, held up under real rough conditions on the JMT, and it was plenty big for me, even though it is a little shorter than the freestanding tent. I think if you were 6'3" or above, you might have a little bit of the net problem in your face there on it, so I wouldn't recommend it for any really, really tall people. But it is a good tent. Like I said, I own 2 of them. They're so inexpensive that they're almost like throwaways. So for now, it's my go-to tent. I don't see me changing or upgrading to any tent. The other thing I may consider in the future is to go to a tarp, whether it's a Dyneema or a Sil Nylon with the different configurations, just using a footprint and my Thermarest pad. Try using that on these shorter camping trips, as long as it's not buggy, because if there's mosquitoes out, I just do need that enclosure to get away from the bugs. So that's my shelter system. One more item here I'm going to go over, and that is my cook system. Originally, I was really, really intrigued, and I'm still really intrigued about the Solo stove. If you don't know what that is, it's a stove that doesn't require any gas fuel or anything like that. This was an extra piece that I got. It was a 900 milliliter or 900 whatever capacity in the pot itself. But it comes with a stove that is a baffled stove that works with just putting twigs in it. You put this end on it and it can constantly fuel the thing with twigs, and it just burns incredible. It's just a lot of fun, this thing, as a matter of fact. I'll never get rid of this. This is, you know, one of these type of things where if you ever go out and you don't want to bring fuel and you don't care about the little extra weight, as long as you can find someplace that has a few twigs and here and there to throw in there, this is a fantastic cook system. They're not cheap. I think with the stove, the pot, and the lid and everything, it's just under $100, but it was too heavy to take on backpacking trips. So, you know, I ended up going, which a lot of people go to, I went with the Toaks titanium. I've got all my stuff in there. I used the MSR Pocket Rocket, and this is the 700 or 750 milliliter container, and I've used this since, and this is still going to be my go-to stove. You do have to bring a fuel canister with it, but that saves me in ounces, like 4 or 5 ounces in weight, and you know, it's more convenient than actually going out and starting a little fire in your Solo stove. But I'm going to hold on to both of them. This is what I'm going to be using, and so that's it on some of the gear changes. All in all, I've reduced my weight about 8 pounds from when I originally was backpacking. That's quite a lot. Carry an extra 8 pounds around is pretty significant when you're hiking out there. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button up there, and thank you very much for following Walkers.